Hello, all my wonderful, beautiful broskies of the Maverick Nation. I'm the Maverick, and you guys are probably not expecting this. Or maybe you are, depending on if I actually did say what I thought I said in part 1 of What If Izuku was Kaido's reincarnation. I believed I said something about Sakura and Big Mom. Considering that there are actually different ways to get devil fruit powers, it's not just one way, like eating the fruit. In Big Mom's case, the fruit originally belonged to Mother Caramel, and an accident happened, and I'm sure the rest of you One Piece aficionados know the rest. Cannibalism. Oh, shit. And that's how Big Mom got the Soto no Mi. I believe that's what it's called in Japanese. The so fruit. I'm going to test my luck and just keep on calling it the Soto no Mi until someone says that I was wrong or that it's pronounced this way. Because I believe last time I checked, it's pronounced Soto no Mi. You know, the so fruit of Big Mom. And I'm going to say that through the years, eventually Big Mom did freaking die. It's basically, yeah. And, well, Big Mom was so well known for her actions in Twatland that it literally made, worldwide news. One of the first times ever that actually happened. Something, outside of the 5 elemental nations, making it into the 5 elemental nations. And, what surrounds, the immediate area that surrounds them. And, well, one of the first peoples to actually catch wind of the demise of Big Mom, freaking finally. I mean, the people that actually ended up telling them basically admitted that they didn't actually know how it happened, but they know that it happened. They didn't even know if she was impelled down or not. So, yeah, they just know, all they know is that she's dead. They don't know how, they don't know why, all they know is she is dead, and that, have this news, it's such big news, get it out to the freaking world. So yes, one less Yonko in the world. That's how I'm basically going to explain how it got, news of Big Mom's demise, got to the 5 elemental nations, and, the other places surrounding them. It's One Piece and all of its locations are on one side of the planet, and on the other side of the planet is Naruto and all of its locations. So, yeah, basically. There are some people, kind of like the Sanin and the Kages, that, unlike, the people they rule over, they are a lot less ignorant to the danger that Big Mom would have posed had she actually gotten to the 5 elemental nations. And, like I said, not just the Kages, but the Sanin as well. So Orochimaru, Tsunade, and Jiraiya all knew about Big Mom. And they also knew about, Shanks, Kaido, and apparently no longer Whitebeard, but Blackbeard, because Whitebeard was apparently killed. some sort of incident at Marine Ford, in which not only was Whitebeard killed, but Porticus the Ace was also killed. So yeah, basically, yeah, that would have happened. And basically, one of the ways, well, that I could also believe you could get a down fruitability may not, be through like direct cannibalism, but also in a way that involves the body, which being reincarnation through a certain someone. Now, up to rather this certain someone would be allowed to know that they were this other someone's reincarnation. That is up for debate in between the Civilian Council and Shinobi Council and the freaking Hokage's advisor and the Hokage. Because, like I said, the first place that, this news got to, was indeed a fire country. And then, fire country's ally, in wind country. And seeing as they were just now patching up relations with lightning country, then it would get to lightning country. And then, like, they're on okay terms with water country. So the news would get to water country, and then finally the last of the 5 elemental nations to actually get the news would be like freaking earth or stone or whatever country. Basically, it would kind of go in that order. And well, like, everybody would indeed kind of have like some sense of relief that Big Mom was no longer a problem. But then again, there would always be the whole question to ask, who's running Topland? Like, with Big Mom gone, who the is running Topland? And that's whenever Orochimaru decides that Rice Country isn't freaking enough. He decides Big Mom's no longer around. He can't have his soul sucked out with her soul's Uronomi powers. He is going to take Topland. Yes. Basically, Orochimaru sends out some people, some of his really strong people, and just, he's like, here, you guys, like, each one of you gets a certain amount of men to go with you. This is going to be a very big, very important mission. Do not fail me, or else I will be the thing you fear more than death itself. Right before I give you such a fate, should you fail me. Secure Topland under the rule of Orochimaru, the Snake Son and ruler of Otogakure, also known as the Hidden Sound Village. So yeah, basically, Orochimaru got some big balls. Because regardless of Big Mom being there or any of her homies being there, I guess that is literally what she calls the things that she sticks the souls into. She calls them homies, apparently, for some frickin' reason. And considering Napoleon is freaking, like last time anybody checked, was unconscious, and Zeus is pretty much under Nami's whole like supervision last time anybody checked, Prometheus would be the only real one to be there, like as one of Big Mom's top homies. But Prometheus would also be considerably weakened, considering the fact that Big Mom is now kaput. And so, basically, like the last breaths of Prometheus, basically, yeah, the sound ninja would just like literally that easily just take Totland, pretty much Whole Cake Island, and every other area around Whole Cake Island, take all that shit by storm, and have it added on to Orochimaru's big old fat stacks. Like this dude was freaking Mitt Romney. Yeah. And so basically they would just have Prometheus executed as soon as, Prometheus would be brought to Orochimaru. Yes, that's basically what they would do. They would, basically capture Prometheus, bring him to Orochimaru as, one of the last, loyal homies of Big Mom, even though she isn't even alive anymore. And because of such blind loyalty, Orochimaru would basically just be like, okay, you want to do that? You want to go that far? Wasn't planning on doing this today, but summoning jutsu. And would just summon one of his giant snakes, and they would just eat Prometheus. It's like, how? And, just de-summon, poof. And Orochimaru would be satisfied with his life. He'd just be like, I just secured Topland and pretty much everything to deal with it, even Whole Cake Island, actually. He would have even took Whole Cake Island by storm. It would have been complete and total domination on the side of Orochimaru here. He would have just completely freaking surfed over all of Topland. Whole Cake Island, yes, still indeed concluded. Included. So, all of Totland, that includes Whole Cake Island as well. So, yeah, just wipe the freaking plate clean, why don't you, Orochimaru? Basically take all of freaking Big Mom's shit, now that she's dead. She's dead now, she ain't gonna need it. It's Orochimaru's thought process. Plus, since she's dead, she can't really, pose a threat to him. Plus, any of, the still active homies, somehow still active, Prometheus, they don't really pose a threat to Orochimaru, especially now that Big Mom's gone. So he just secures a win over Totland and Whole Cake Island and all that shit. Just decimates all of it. And rebuilds over it whatever the hell he wants to rebuild. So he can just do whatever the hell he wants with all that area. Whatever he feels like. He can do whatever the frick he wants. I mean, Big Mom isn't going to try to get it back from him. She's too dead to do that. However, this does indeed start a chain of events to happen. Just because Big Mom herself is dead does not mean the power of her devil fruit. Well, that was originally Mother Caramel's before, cannibalism. But still, does not mean the devil fruit, the Soto no Mi, does not live on. And, pretty much one of her possible next of kin, nobody really knows what Big Mom's like in her private time. I mean, she could, with the fact that everyone's terrified of her, pretty much, get whatever the frick she wanted. If she wanted to do the nasty, she could do the nasty. I mean, it's not like they're gonna say no. The people at Dotland, like, they're too freaking terrified to say no. So she just gets what she wants. Well, at least she did before she died. And because of this, kind of branched out into a little something. After doing so much branching out, because, the male gets the last name, and, whatever happened with the devil fruit happens with the devil fruit, is what Big Mom is beginning to realize at the time in which all this is happening. That is before she herself dies. Everything's beginning to click together what is going to end up happening over time. And so, with Big Mom actually dead now, and Orochimaru just usurping all of our freaking territory, including Whole Cake Island, well, you guys might be wondering, well, what would, the companion of Big Mom, who started whatever to happen, be doing? What would they be thinking? They'd probably most likely be dead. Because most likely, probably, Prometheus, well, Big Mom no longer around, Prometheus would probably just have killed the person. Well, that could have been a possibility, but no one really knows. Or do they? Well, let's go to Konoha to see the full picture here. Sakura Haruno is a beautiful little girl. The top Konoichi in her class come the near future. But as for now, she's just merely learning how to walk and talk. Sakura Haruno. Well, the Haruno name isn't exactly something exclusively shinobi, actually. The person of the Haruno name may be a part of the civilian council now, but they weren't always. It does indeed turn out that the person, this specific member of the civilian council, basically was immigrated all the way from Topland itself. Yes, they came to Konoha after, everything to deal with Big Mom. And they had good reason to do so, because they're beginning to see the red flags. They're seeing the writing on the wall. On the walls. And, well, just realizing it is not safe to, raise a child here. And so, basically, regardless of whatever might have been talked about in the past, that doesn't matter now. What matters is the fact that they were actually able to get, themselves and their child back from Topland all the way to a pretty much very, very well, economically supported village, and they're not exactly all that sourpuss-like either, so they were very well received, this person and, their daughter. Their daughter being Sakura Haruno. And being the fact that her freaking, basically, her father's last name is Haruno. Basically, yeah. Sakura Haruno was basically her parents actually from Topland, not from the Leaf. They just immigrated into the Leaf. Sakura herself actually born in Topland. However, her father, knowing the dangers of everything, and how everything was collapsing in on itself, GTFO'd out of Topland before it was too late. And secretly, they felt that, Big Mom would have actually liked the idea of the fact that this person, got their daughter out of harm's way and into a more safe and secure environment. And so basically, yeah, pretty stricken about the whole thing where the person was actually kind of getting to like Big Mom a little bit. And, they didn't have a child with one another. I mean, come on. Well, after a couple, drinks at a certain bar, and, well, being a very well-meaning woman, they actually got pretty well acquainted, and even after mentioning the whole thing with about how are they having a child, and how the mother basically, is dead, the actual birth mother is, and how they basically come from the Harino family, and seeing as, the whole thing with Big Mom is, really big news, this person would have been able to recall the Harino name, and that, yeah, this is big business. So, yeah, the mom that Sakura would, grow up to know as her mom wouldn't actually be her real mom in this. It would be more or less a mother that she got through the fact that basically, a woman came into her father's life whenever, was probably needed most. In a state of grief where not all emotions are all that stable. So I guess you could say that in a way did indeed, once again, save Sakura from some pretty bad shit happening. And, as Sakura would grow up, she would indeed have, no friends. Well, except for one exception. That being a Yamanaka girl, daughter of Inoichi. Yes, Yamanaka. Her only freaking friend. Basically, would have been her only friend. That is until, they entered their own little rivalry over this Uchiha kid named Sasuke. And, safe to say, Sakura hasn't been feeling too good lately. Her self-esteem is jacked to shit. And, she just lost a friend that she had for quite some time over a freaking boy. But the boy that she will indeed admit she does like. So Sakura really doesn't know how to feel or what to feel right now. So then in the midst of just so much of a funk. She's only 6 years old. 6-year-old Sakura begins to notice something, but decides not to tell her father or mother in fear of what could possibly be implications with what is currently happening. Well, basically, she was currently on her bed, cuddling a giraffe she had given the name Rose. However, despite the name, it was a guy giraffe to her. She didn't know why, it's just she felt that surrounding herself with all this stuff made her feel good whenever nothing else in the world did. Especially with the fact that she doesn't even know if she'll ever be able to be with Sasuke-kun, as she called him. And that's whenever this light produced from her body, she could feel energy. Almost like there were more people in the room than there actually were. For all she knew, she was alone in her room with only her stuffed animal companion, Rose, to really accompany her as well. Rose was really the only one she was willing to, confide in during these times. Sakura was so sad. She was so happy at the same time because she could never stay sad whenever she was around the company of her friend. Rose would never betray her, right? That's whenever she would lift up the light in her hand, and well, she didn't exactly know what she did automatically, but whatever she did, things started acting weird. Or, safe to say, her stuffed animal began to act weird. Because it acted at all. Even, going by the name given to her. Well, given to it. By Sakura. Yes, that's right. The Sorosoro no Mi ability of basically putting souls in shit. And other stuff. But for now, just the whole thing with kind of like, Big Mom's homies. That shit, basically. And, well, basically, Rose would exclaim that basically Rose, even though Rose has never met Big Mom himself, you can feel the energy. Feel how the devil fruit passed down from the last person to, have it. Big Mom. And being able to sense all the homies in the past, Rose will begin to understand this person is basically Big Mom reincarnated, but not completely. More or less reincarnated in the sense of this power could be used very similar to the way that Big Mom used it. And, well, Rose would begin to explain some things to Sakura and basically tell her she wields the power of a certain fruit that basically her real mother gained access to through very Well, less than savory means. Just leave it at that. Basically, Sakura would be like, my real mom? Yeah, kiddo, well, your real mom, from what I'm able to tell, she is no longer alive, yet whenever she was, oh, you better not want to cross her path, or else you'd be deemed insane. She was one of the Yonko, the 4 basic emperors of the sea. Now, considering the fact that, she was a woman, empress, and Sakura would be like, Emperor of the Sea? Yonko? And, well, the Rose is like, you catch on really fast, Sakura-chan. Yonko indeed. Just like red-haired Shanks, Blackbeard, and Kaido. You have an extraordinary power, Sakura. Pretty much up to par with any current jutsu you guys could be learning in the academy anytime soon. Way more powerful, that's for sure. Like, extreme power. Like, you would not believe. I mean, you just put a soul inside me. A plush giraffe. Basically, Sakura is realizing now what exact kind of power she has. Well, basically the bare minimum, bare bones basics of said power. This Soto no Mi, also known as Soul Fruit. She has its powers. And if I may indeed put X-Men logic into this, it may have actually improved without having to awaken first. And Rose also pretty much mentions that he's not even really sure if or even when the Devil Fruit will even awaken. But it's almost like it's gotten stronger without having to. And, well, Sakura, basically what she now knows is that she has power over souls. Otherwise, then she wouldn't have been able to bring her, plush giraffe friend Rose to life. And Sakura begins to think. Wait, a soul, wouldn't there need to be a soul around? Did I kill someone? Because there needs to be a soul in order to put a soul in, and it didn't feel like I was losing anything, so... Oh, no, Sakura. You didn't use any up your soul up. You just used the Devil Fruit power to take a soul and put it into me. And if you're wondering who, well... I don't know who, but I have heard good things about them. Great things, even. They were very powerful whenever they were, alive. And, well, Sakura begins to think maybe she could tweak Rose's soul that she gave him. Possibly tweak it. And Rose gives her a nod, basically greenlighting it. And so basically that's what Sakura does. She tweaks around with her giraffe friend. And now Rose is a force to be reckoned with. along with the very person who made him like that. Sakura herself, considering the powers of the Solar enemy. Basically, you got a freaking Puss in Boots scenario, but instead of a cat, it's a giraffe. And by Puss in Boots, I mean Puss in Boots from Shrek. But like, instead of like regular sword or shit, it would be like a Zanpakuto sword with the amount of power like the attacks do. So yeah, basically, like some sort of like a super ridiculously cool looking motherfudger. And she would just be like Sakura would just be like, "Oh my gosh, Rose, you're so cool." And Rose is like, "Well, I couldn't possibly be as cool as that Sasuke-kun guy you're always talking about." And Sakura's like, "Oh yeah, I do often mention him a lot around you. Figures you would know." Well, anyways, Rose, I don't exactly know how any of this is going to go down. I mean, if the lady who you basically just told me isn't even my birth mother figures out about the fact that I have Big Mom, her soul fruit, its powers, and what about my dad? What would happen? And basically Rose is just like, oh, crap. That's a conundrum there. But you know one thing about Earl Sasuke-kun sets him apart from the rest? Of course you do. The fact that he's apparently the last of the loyal Uchihas. By loyal, I mean loyal to the village. And this may indeed make you more like him in a way. What I'm about to do. Because, well, basically what you're saying is pretty much inevitable unless I do it. Sakura, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do, but honestly, I'm not sorry. Because of how important it is that I do it. I'm the only one pretty much around here that could get away with it. If you tried to do it, you'd be found out sometime after. I mean, Leaf Anbu aren't exactly slouches whenever it comes to figuring out about this shit. However, me just a little plush giraffe, there would be no fingerprints, no incriminating evidence. I wouldn't even believe if you actually did admit. So foolproof, it's perfect. A plan like that. Besides, if your mother had lived any longer, she probably would have gotten rid of your father anyways. That's just how the way she is. Or was. I hate the player, I hate the game. Well then, Rose, do what you have to do. She'd just be like, do what you gotta do. That's whenever Rose would, proceed to basically just slaughter both of Sakura's parents. Her actual real father and her pretty much married into mother. They would have been killed, basically. And any immediate family that have no idea what to do with Sakura. So Sakura, just like Sasuke, would pretty much be alone. Or at least that's what they would think. But no. Just like how Rose had basically told her, she basically created a homie whenever bringing him to life. And she even messed around with his soul so much that now he is a literal living force to be reckoned with. Under the command of Haruno Sakura. Who knows, Sakura? Maybe eventually you could make your whole way in status up to Big Mom's level and maybe even bigger. That's something that would definitely get Sasuke's attention. Power. Oh, you have no idea how much of his attention you would have gotten. Knowing that you have this amount of power. And you haven't even started training your fruit yet. Except for, well, what you've been doing with me. And Sakura's just like, well, time to go experimenting then. Just, we gotta figure out a way to find some stuff to get rid of blood. Because you're a mess, Rose, you know that? You're a mess. Also, to get rid of blood off of surfaces like swords. And Rose is like, oh, so shopping spree. And then experimenting. And Sakura is just like, well, technically from what I'm figuring, I don't have to take all of people's souls in order to, do whatever. And Rose would just be like, very fast learner. Now, let's do this. And, well, Sakura would just be like, it would have been a while, and it would finally be the end of the academy. Everybody would be awaiting their headband. Except for Naruto, because he wouldn't get one because canon. Basically, Sakura could not wait to tell Rose about how the fact that she was a genin now. Like, basically, she had kept Rose and a majority of anything else she could ever think of turning into a homie a secret. And very carefully and methodically thought out secrets that. But Rose was, close enough to Sakura to also independently think for himself about the whole hiding the identity thing. And the fact that, Sakura can even, pull that shit off. That is until the time is right. Which Rose, being sort of like an advisor to Sakura, will be like, now's possibly not the best time. But still, Sakura would probably be like, still like just giddy thinking about, telling Rose about the fact that she was a genin now. She'd be so happy, and Rose, she could tell, would probably be really happy. I mean, they're like best friends. Like, she lost a friend with Ino, but she gained a friend in basically turning Rose into her first ever homie. Using the power of the Sorosoronomi. And, well, with the power of the Sorosoronomi, Sakura's confidence has been boosted, like, a lot. Not to the point to where you could consider, like, major arrogance, but to the point where, like, she'd be, like, very on, the positive side. And, would be wondering, What happened to her? What got her such a spring in her step? I mean, she graduated, sure, but, this is like, she's like really happy. And, like, neither of us actually won in our fight, to get Sasuke-kun get into his pants. So what's she so happy about already? Little does he know, Sakura lives a whole nother secret life whenever no one is looking. Along with her, indeed, she could indeed say a sort of advisor. In Rose, her first ever homie created. And, well, Rose often, gives good advice, like, you would normally think that you should diet. Sure, but, really you don't. I mean, with all the stuff that shinobis do on a constant everyday basis, well, you need the food in order to keep your energy up. So yeah, even giving good advice to basically what he considers the mistress, his mistress of the Sotonomi, Sakura Haruno Sakura, the mistress of the Sotonomi, which, Sakura and Naruto and Sasuke, the whole thing with them, well, Sasuke would still, there is one thing that would change. He would at least acknowledge Sakura, and the fact that, well, he'd be keeping an eye out for certain things. But that's where Rose comes in. He basically just chooses the best times when to appear and when to not appear. Yeah, Rose is a stealthy motherfucker. So much so that he can actually outpace the Uchiha. And even outthink him. But considering, what Rose was made to be, and what Sasuke currently is, like what his skill level is currently now, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Like, if Rose could just murder Sasuke without him even being able to tell he was there. Yeah, without even knowing it, Sakura actually made Rose pretty damn strong. But hey, it's always good to start out strong, and she did. By making Rose ridiculously tough, whenever compared to, Genin and Chunin level ninja. I mean, probably the biggest fight you might be able to get out of him is, like, if he was actually stupid enough to go up against a Jonin. Then he might have a hard time, but it's not, like, to say, like, it's impossible for him to win if he were to go up against a Jonin. It just all depends on which Jonin, like, who we'd be going up against. Like, if it was somebody like Kakashi, he would definitely not be able to win. But if it was someone like freaking Kurenai, I'd say, like, there would be some difficulty, but it's not exactly like it would be impossible. Because Kurenai's a Genjutsu mistress, and Rose is a homie. Yeah, I don't exactly see the sense in using Genjutsu on something that is just a soul occupying a freaking inanimate object and turning it into something else entirely. So yeah, basically, the type of homies that Sakura creates are going to be immune to Genjutsu. And so, yeah, Kurenai is basically her main strong point is basically flushed down the toilet already. So her main strong suit basically doesn't even factor into anything because of the fact that Rose is a freaking homie And so Genjutsu wouldn't even work in the first place. It's the same thing with Sharingan users. It doesn't matter if you have a Mangekyo Sharingan. It's not gonna work. It's a freaking homie. A soul housing an inanimate freaking object. It's not gonna work. You know? And basically, after that whole thing, Sakura would find it weird the looks Mizuki would be giving Naruto, considering it was the last day of school. Like, Sakura is very smart, so, smart enough to take the advice of her very helpful advisor, and will use it to her fullest extent, of, like, help. So she's able to pretty much, deduce that there's something up with what's going on. And she's actually able to get it on the conversation whenever Mizuki goes up to Naruto with a little bit of a proposition. And Sakura would basically just go back to, the Haruno clan compound, and basically she would be like, Rose. And Rose would be like, yes, ma'am. And she'd just be like, Rose, stand at attention and gather the others. Send in the 5,000 squad. And if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about whenever I say the 5,000 squad, basically Sakura, being intelligent, knows that there's like 5 elemental nations. I like 1,000. I like the sound of 1,000, so yeah, basically, yeah. The 5,000 squad. Basically, the 5,000 squadron. And what the 5,000 squadron would be is basically all of, the top ponies. Not ponies. Basically, any and all of the top homies in any certain profession that is needed at any given time. Basically, like the homie version of Ambu, basically. And a part of that, like, to the point of kind of being a sort of self-anointed, like, royal guard of Sakura herself, would indeed be Rose. He is not only a sort of royal guard of Sakura herself, but also indeed has like a double work job as a member of the 5,000 squadron. So he's just like, I'll gather the highest members. And one good thing about the 5,000 squadron that's really cool, seeing as, I'm kind of meshing One Piece and Naruto here, I'm gonna go ahead and say that, considering the different souls that were being put into the different members, these top, like, leading members in the 5,000 squad, basically there's 5 of them. Sakura, thinking that maybe it could be possible to figure out the different chakra affinities of the homies she makes. Seeing as, like, every human has chakra, so, basically as far as she knows, And, well, that would mean that every homie she would make should need to have chakra as well. And because of chakra, would equate to chakra natures, like chakra affinities. And this does indeed turn up to be true. And it just so happens that, just like Sasuke, after, he mastered up his fire affinity, he then turned to lightning. Just like that, Rose actually has a major lightning affinity. And basically, the 4 others that Rose would be going with all have different affinities, but none of them are lightning. This is a very unique squad in that every member's chakra affinity is different than the others. 1 lightning user, 1 fire user, 1 water user, 1 earth user, and 1 wind user. But regardless of whatever affinity, Rose is still the strongest. So basically, and he's also kind of the smartest as well. So, of course, it would make sense to make him leader of the 5,000 Squadron. And so, basically, Sakura would tell the 5,000 Squadron what to do. Basically, to check up on Naruto, without Naruto actually knowing that they're there, until it is time to strike. Basically, see what information they can get from Mizuki, and, well, basically, yes, that's right. So, basically, yeah. By the time Iruka actually gets there, Mizuki's already about to spill the beans about the Nightdale Fox secret. And, by the time Mizuki does this, and Naruto's basically all shell-shocked, all these different homies that are part of the 5,000 Squadron, they all know. Basically, the 5,000 Squadron are the Zeros, the Zero Squad people. Ichibe and, Nemaya and all the others that are part of the Zero Squad. Basically, they're like that. So, really good top villain. They're really, really, really tough whenever compared to all the other homies that have been made by now. And so basically, before anything gets too out of hand, the shuriken that Mizuki was going to send towards Naruto, that, Iruka was going to take, actually gets deflected by the freaking thing of a sword. Shing. It's send it. And the person responsible for that would have actually been one of the homies, in particular, Rose himself. Yeah, Rose has something to say about Mizuki and the fact that, well, dude is literally freaking an asshole. And basically, seeing as these things are literally freaking stuffed animals, Mizuki just throws another shuriken, but is throwing it at Rose and trying to hit a blind spot to cut Rose in half, and where Rose will be able to defend with his sword. But that's whenever another stuffed animal basically comes up the frick out of nowhere, basically with a big ass shield, that freaking, just the shuriken moving as fast as it is ends up grinding on and just turning into shuriken dust. And this one just so happens to be called Odd Job. And, well, yes, first a Bleach reference, now a 007 reference. But hey, my what if, my rules. And Odd Job is a sort of raccoon plushie. First it's a giraffe, now a raccoon. And so just Odd Job, after freaking putting the shield behind his back, with one of those shields where you just pull it from out your back, and then, just have it right in front of you. Yeah, that's a pretty strong shield that he actually has. And then he just goes up and, mutilates Mizuki. He doesn't, Rose doesn't even need to do anything. Odd Job just slices Mizuki to bits. He can't even believe what he just saw happen to his own shuriken. And so Odd Job just takes the opportunity to leap into action and freaking mutilate this man. Gouge his eyes out, freaking rip his intestines out, and wear him as a freaking sweater. Yeah, it's a gory sight, to say the least. And Iruka's like, what the hell? And Naruto is just equally what the hell. And basically, Odd Job just looks at Rose, and Rose gives it the okay. And basically, Odd Job just explains, "Oh, sorry about that. We are part of a group known as the 5000 Squadron of Miss Haruno Sakura. She graduated from the academy, became a Geni. Yes, we are part of an elite squadron that is charged with not only defending her, but also by any orders she might set for us. And an order was given to pretty much watch out for dear Naruto boy, considering something that she had seen to deal with looks Mizuki was giving the poor kid." And basically, Odd Job would just go up to Naruto and start licking him in the face. And Naruto would actually admit it kind of tickles. And Rose would just be like, Odd Job can actually be a real sweetie whenever, get used to him. And, Iruka would be like, where exactly is Sakura right now? And they just look at him, and, the other side of the 5000 Squadron just freaking pop the frick out of nowhere. And are just like, "That is not information you are deemed worthy of knowing, Iruka. We only foreclose information should Miss Haruno want that to happen. And whatever information it is, it will only be information that she wants to be foreclosed. Any other type of deals terminated before they can even begin. Sorry, not sorry. Now, everything's said, and everybody would just be like, "Hi!" and then they would just disappear. And Iruka and Naruto would just be left to be like, "We be smoking the reefer?" Because That was freaking weird. And basically, the 5,000 Squadron would report back to Sakura about how everything was successful, yet they almost had to get physical confrontation with Iruka, seeing as he was there. Pretty much Rose saved his life. Basically, yeah. But they basically made it a point, more or less Rose and Oddjob made it a point that what goes around with Sakura stays around with Sakura. And, well, the members of the 5,000 Squadron and her other homies, they also pledge a good loyalty to her, being literally created because of her. So yeah, I think that's a good place to stop. Anyways, bye. Oh, yes. Damn it, Decay!